Hi everyone, my name's Culliver Crantz and I'm the creator of the FrightVision middle grade book series. Think Goosebumps meets Stranger Things that all started with a coin. It starts with a brother and sister who find this coin in their neighborhood that turns out to be cursed. When it starts doing all of these different bad things to them, they try to get rid of it, which leads them to the scientists that created FrightVision. Each of the other stories in the FrightVision series is a different experiment happening in the FrightVision universe that all connect through the cursed coin stories. But I'm not here just to talk to you about FrightVision today. I'm here to show you how I create a story, how I brainstorm, and this is what I do when I come to visit. But first, in order for us to create a story, we need some things. What are the most important things that we need in order to create a story? Did you come up with some? Here's a few that I wrote down, and there's plenty. There's more things that you can add, but these are some important ones. We have characters. We need a protagonist and an antagonist. We need a setting. Where is this all happening? We need a plot. What's going to happen when we put this character in this setting? We need to know. We have a conflict because we need something to keep it exciting, and then we need to fix the conflict. So we need our resolution, which is our beginning, our middle, and our end. We need a title. Some people create stories based on titles alone, so that can help you get up with a good idea. And then we have a theme. But there's one more on here that is my favorite, and I didn't list it yet. But this is my favorite thing to use when I'm creating a story. A twist. I want my readers to think one thing and I'm gonna twist it. And then I'm gonna turn it and I'm gonna twist it again. So I'm gonna show you how I incorporate the twist into my stories. Are you ready to create a twist? So when I come to visit, I love to do this interactively. I want all of your input so that we can create a story together and then twist it all around. Now, typically when I come, I bring one story to start, to at least give us some sort of framework. And we're going to use that right now. So, as you can see here, we have a weird looking x-ray. And it's not just any x-ray. This is my x-ray. This is my knee. See all those screws? I feel like they're the makings of a good story. All right, let's do this. Let's create a story now. So, to save some time, I jotted down a few things here so that we can work with. We have our main character here. We'll say he because I'm going to base it on my knee. So, he is afraid of heights, spiders, ghosts, and nighttime. Not necessarily me, but let's say that I am. He's always scared. Loves video games because he doesn't have to actually do anything but feels like he can take part in the adventure. He doesn't act, he hides. His parents own a junkyard and he has a sister. So that's what we have for him. We have our best friend over here. The best friend tries to get the main character to do more, to be more adventurous, not afraid of anything. The best friend causes trouble, and the best friend's parent is a surgeon. So we have a setting too. I came up with this. We'll call it Cliff's Edge. So Cliff's Edge is the town that they live in. And the reason why they call it that is because there's an edge at the edge of the town called Cliff's Edge. And all the different kids in the neighborhood dare each other to stand on the edge. So I think we might be able to work with this. So what do we do now? We have a great framework here, but now what? Now we gotta ask questions. What if? So, what if we took our main character and the best friend and we send them to Cliff's Edge? And of course the main character doesn't want to go. But the best friend does, and he talks him into it. A little bit of bullying. So, best friend and the main character at the edge standing there. The best friend does it, no problem. The main character refuses, can't do it, won't do it. And so the best friend has to use something to get him to do it. So maybe the best friend finds a spider and he puts it near him. And eventually the main character sees it and starts to freak out, bringing him closer to the edge. And then, what do you think happens? Well, first, we have to have our main character get that moment of being at the edge. He did it. Finally, he was able to do it. But then reality has to set in. He has to click into his emotions. He's afraid of this. So now panic completely sets in. So what happens? He falls. Now we're not going to kill off our main character, but what do you think we're going to do based on this x-ray? So we are going to make it so that he messes up his knee. The best friend freaks out because he knows that he caused this and he's going to be in big trouble. So who does he turn to? His parent. That's a surgeon. So now we take our main character, has to get fixed up quick. Best friend calls their parent. The parent comes. We're going to take them in and we're going to do this. Now, what could go wrong? Now, we obviously don't know a lot about the best friend's parents. They could be involved in anything. This could have been all a setup, which could be a twist in this story. But so, parent surgeon decides the main character needs screws. So without telling anybody, they put screws in, call it a day. Everything's gonna be fine. So we put these screws in, now what? Turns out these screws do something to our main character. So now our main character isn't afraid of anything anymore, and it's actually changing him. So now he wants to cause trouble. So he becomes a little bit of a bully. Now he's changing, and the best friend sees this. And while he's seeing this, the parent sees this too. And they're finding some sort of value in what's happening to our main character. So what do you think that does to the story? Can we twist somewhere? So now we have to ask more questions. What if this isn't the first time that the best friend's parents have put screws into someone or something? What if that this person's parents is not just a surgeon? They're working on some weird stuff, trying to find out ways to create an evil army, to create any sort of different things. Whatever effect we want, that's what they're trying to do to people. And so now we've seen our main character change. And we have a sister here that knows that he's changing. So now, what happens next? All right, so now what? We have the sister, but what can we do with the sister in this story? So she has to notice the changes. She'll be great to notice that our main character is changing. He's no longer afraid of everything. He's being much meaner. He's bullying other people at school or wherever. And so one night, the main character and the best friend are back at the edge, and they're tormenting people. And who ends up showing up? The sister. And so, what can we do now? The sister could see them and see what they're doing, and she notices something. She notices his knee and that there's a scar. But what else could she notice while standing on that edge with her brother and the best friend? What do you think? How about this? She notices that the best friend has the same scar on the same leg. And it makes a weird design, and that's how she knows something's up. Now we have something, because this tells us that the best friend already knew about what was happening. So there's a big twist. So now, what else can we do? How do we get through to our main character? How do we fix him? We have to find a way to fix him, and we have to make him realize that something's wrong. So this is where the sister has to play a major role. So now the sister helps the main character figure out, by any sort of different things through our backstory that we create, that takes him back and makes him realize that something's different. So now we need the sister to figure out a way to get rid of these screws. But how can we do that? What can we do? We added one detail in the beginning. The parents own a junkyard. What do you think we can use in this story to get rid of these screws? How about a magnet? We use that junkyard for a reason, so that the sister can bring her main character brother to the junkyard, and boom, we use that magnet to rip those screws out, and he changes back to normal. But now, we're not going to end here. It's not over yet. Sure, he's fixed, but what about the rest of the story? So now, we have some issues. The best friend doesn't know that his screws are gone, the main character's screws, and neither does the surgeon that put them in. So now we have to use our main character to try and fix the issue that's happening at Cliff's Edge. But so how do we find out who has these screws? Well, there's one way that we can do it. We could have made that Cliff's Edge that the only way that anybody can stand at the edge is if they're completely fearless. And so anybody who can do that probably has a screw. So this is one way for us to figure it out. Obviously we have the scar, and so now we use our main character to pretend that he still has the screws to recruit these people back to the junkyard, where they then take out everyone's screws. But is that it? Of course not. That can't be it. So for us to end this, we have all these screws out and everybody's back to their normal ways. And this town was just corrupted by all of these different screws in there. And so, what do they do with the screws? Sure, they destroy them. Perfect. Game over, right? The main character saves one screw. And why? Because he doesn't like being afraid of everything and thinks maybe one day he'll put that screw back in because he won't want to be afraid anymore. And boom, that's our story. So, just a fun little brainstorming session. And sure, is it perfect from A to Z? No, there's so many different things that you have to do and so many different places to fill everything in. But it's a fun way to create a story and keep twisting and turning and twisting and turning to give yourself some framework to create something fun. I hope you enjoyed. Happy nightmares. Culliver Crantz.